October 18th. If there were medals and prizes for stupidity and gullibleness, I certainly would receive the half-assed one. Chris and I walked into Richie and Ted's apartment to find the bastards stoned and making love to each other. No wonder Richie Bitchy wanted so little to do with me. Here I am out peddling drugs for a low-class queer whose dad probably isn't sick at all. I wonder how many other dumb chicks he's got working for him. Oh, I'm so ashamed. I can't believe I've sold to 11 and 12-year-olds and even 9 and 10-year-olds. What a disgrace I am to myself and my family and to everybody. I'm as bad as the son of a bitch Richie. October 19th. Chris and I sat around the park all day thinking things over. She's been using drugs for over a year, and I've been on since July 10th to be exact. We've decided it would be impossible to change while we're here, so we're going to cut out and go to San Francisco. And I've simply got to turn Richie into the police. I'm not being vindictive or spiteful or jealous, really I'm not. It's just that I've got to do something to protect all those grade and junior high school kids. All this crap Rich sold me about they'll get it someplace. All that this is just a bunch of high pressure bullshit. He doesn't care about anyone in this whole world but himself, and the only way I can make retribution for what he's done is to at least keep him from getting more kids started. That's one of the worst things about this drug business. Practically every kid that uses also sells, and it's just a giant round robin thing that keeps on getting bigger and bigger until I wonder where it will ever end. I really do. I wish I'd never gotten started. And now Chris and I have both pledged to each other that we're going to stay clean. We really and truly are. We've given our sacred oath and promise. In San Francisco, we won't know a single soul that uses it, and it will be easy to stay off. It's very sad sneaking off in the middle of the night, but Chris and I could think of no other way. The bus will be leaving at 4:30 a.m., and we must be on it. First, we'll go to Salt Lake City for a while, and then backtrack to San Francisco. I am really quite afraid of what Richie might do if he caught me. He will almost surely know the one who turned him in because I told the police in my letter about the few places I know where he stashes his supply. I wish all dealers could be put away. Goodbye, dear home. Goodbye, good family. I really am leaving mostly because I love you so much and I don't want you to ever know what a weak and disreputable person I have been. And I hate being a high school dropout, but I dare not even write for my transcripts, knowing you and Richie might follow them. I'm leaving you a note, beloved family, but it can never tell you how sacred you are to me. October 26th. We are in San Francisco, in a dirty, smelling, and stifling little one-room apartment. We are both filthy after so many miserable hours on the bus, and since Chris is taking her bath down the hall, I will write a few lines till it is my turn. I'm sure we have enough money to last us till we get jobs because I kept $130. I was supposed to turn in to the bastard Richie, and Chris was able to draw out the $400+ she had in the bank. This whoring little spider hole we are in costs $90 for a month, but at least that will give us enough time to get jobs and look for a decent place to live. I feel dreadful about my parents, but at least they know I'm with Chris and that they think she is a nice and respectable girl who won't lead me astray. Boy, how much further astray could I go? October 27th. Chris and I have looked all day for jobs. We followed up every ad in the paper, but we're either too young or too inexperienced, or we don't have references, or they want someone with a following, or they'll call us. I have never been so damned exhausted in my life. We certainly won't need anything to make us sleep tonight, even on the lumpy, soggy, let-down contraption which is called a bed in this cracker box. October 28th. Everything always feels clammy and damp here. There is even a green type of fungus mold growing in the closet, but thank goodness we won't be here long. At least I hope we won't be here long. But today was no more successful than yesterday in job hunting. We couldn't locate Chris's friend either. October 29th. I took a job in some crappy little lingerie store. It doesn't pay much, but at least it will keep us in groceries, etc. Chris will keep looking for a better job after she gets one. Then I will quit and look for something a little more challenging. Chris hopes that maybe in a year we can open our own boutique. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And maybe when we're very successful, we can invite our families to come and see us and glory in our success. October 31st. Chris still doesn't have a job. She looks every day, but we both decided that she wouldn't take just anything. It has to be in a first-rate store where she can learn everything we'll need to know to run our own place. Every night I'm so tired I can hardly make it to bed. I didn't realize that standing up all day waiting on grouchy, lousy people would be so exhausting. November 1st. Chris and I spent the day touring Chinatown and Golden Gate Park, and we took a bus across the bridge. It's a wonderful and exciting and beautiful city, but I really wish I were home. Of course I couldn't tell Chris that. November 3rd. Chris finally got a job. It's in the greatest little shop I've ever seen. I went down after work and bought a pair of sandals. She can learn everything there is to know about buying and displaying as well as selling because there are only 2 of them in the shop. Shalia is the owner, and she is without a doubt the most fabulous looking woman I have ever seen. Skin as clear and white as snow and eyelashes as long as my arm. Fake, of course. Her hair is jet black, and I know that she is all of 6 feet tall. I can't understand why she isn't modeling or in movies or on TV. Her shop is in a very exclusive little area, and her prices are high, even with Chris's discount. But anyway, I just felt like I had to splurge all over the scrimping we've done and are going to continue to do so. November 5th. I'm getting more homesick every day instead of more weaned away. I wonder how Chris feels. I don't dare say anything for fear she will think I'm a boob, which I probably am. Actually, I think I'd go home if I weren't so afraid of Richie. I'm sure he'd try to involve me if he could. He's such a weak, conniving, vindictive character. I see so many things about him now that are repulsive that I don't know how I ever got so miserably brainwashed. Guess I was just a stupid, dumb kid asking to be taken, and I was. Man, was I ever, but next time I won't be so stupid, except that there won't be any next time. I will never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, use drugs again. They are the root and cause of this whole rotten, stinking mess I am in, and I wish with all my heart and soul that I had never heard of them, and I wish letters didn't carry postmarks. Then I could write to Mom and Dad and the kids and Gram and Gramps and maybe even Roger. There are so many things I would like to tell them. It's just too bad I didn't realize it in time. November 8th. Get up, work, eat, and fall into bed exhausted. I don't even take a bath every day anymore. It's just too much trouble to wait around for the bathroom to be empty. November 10th. I quit my job and I'm going to spend my full time looking for a more interesting one. Sheila had a list of places to which I can go and says I can use her name as a reference. P.S. We splurged and got a second-hand TV for $15. It doesn't work too well, but it cheers the place up. November 11th. Well, diary, how do you like this? I got a job my very first hour out. In fact, it was the second shop I went to. Mario Milani makes exquisite custom jewelry, much of it filled with precious stones. He wanted someone young and fresh-looking to be kind of window dressing and background for his work. I am flattered that he chose me. Mr. Milani is big and fat and jolly and tells me he has a wife and 8 children who live in Sausalito. And already he has invited me over some Sunday for dinner and to meet them. November 13th. I adore my new job. Mr. Milani is like a second family to me. Here he is in this very exclusive little shop in the lobby of an incredibly expensive hotel, yet he brings his lunch every day in a paper sack and shares it with me. He says it keeps him from getting too fat. And Chris and I are going out to his home on Sunday. Isn't that great? It will be really wonderful to see a bunch of little kids again. He has one son, Roberto, just Tim's age, and another little boy only 3 days younger than Alexandria. He thinks I am an orphan, and I really am in a way. Oh well, I could have plenty of dates if I weren't particular. Our lobby is swarming with wealthy old fat men and their wealthy mink and sable chinchillaed old wives. The men stash their wives up in their suits, then come down and make passes at me. There are also endless numbers of traveling salesmen, types who wander through trying to handle more than the merchandise. It hasn't taken me many days to learn how to spot them as they pass the first doorman. Chris and I are lucky that both our shops are closed on Sundays and Mondays, so we have our 2 free days together. There aren't many really young people like us around. Shelia must be a terrifically preserved 30, and of course, Mr. Milani is old enough to be my father, and a father he is fast becoming. Tomorrow we go to his house. November 16th. We really had a fascinating time at Mr. Milani's. They live in a little hillside area which almost seems country. It's at the very end of the bus line and all covered with big, ageless trees. Mrs. Milani and the kids are just like the Italian families in the movies, and she cooks like nothing I've ever eaten before. And the kids, even the big kids, crawl continuously all over the parents. I've never seen such a physical bunch. Mario, the big 17-year-old, was going on some kind of field trip, and he kissed and hugged his father as well as the rest of the family as though he were going away forever. The rest of the day, he was also generously sprinkled with physical spats and spanks and slaps. It was a lovely experience which only made me more lonely. November 19th. Chris came home from work elated. Shelia, not to be outdone by Mr. Milani, invited us to a party she's having at her house Saturday night after work. It will start a little late as all of us work till 9, but I'm glad because it sounds terribly glamorous and sophisticated to be going to a party at 10:30 p.m. November 20th. At first, Chris and I were really worried about what we would wear to Shelia's, but she told us just to wear something comfortable, which is great because we only brought one suitcase each from home and we're really not in the mood to spend if we don't have to. I think maybe we'll stay in this apartment for another 6 months or so, then we'll probably have enough money to start on our own. I hope Shelia will give us her blessings and help us. Maybe Mr. Milani will let us handle some of his cheaper things too. Mario is going to come work in the shop as soon as he graduates from high school, so maybe they wouldn't need me anyway.